Hello, it's 6 p.m. in Johannesburg, and I'm Renuka Methil, the managing editor of Forbes Africa. Today, I'm in conversation with the man who has won Olympic gold in 2016. He made history as the first South African athlete in 41 years to set a track and field world record at the 2016 Olympics in Rio. He's the king of the 400 meters. And last year, in 2019, he was also one of the 30 under 30 list makers for Forbes Africa in 2019. I'm talking about none other than 28-year-old Wayde van Niekerk, who is one of the most versatile sprinters in the history of the sport. Hi, Wayde. So nice to be seeing you here today on Zoom.
Good evening, ma'am. Thanks for having me. It's a real honor.
No, I mean, it is an honor definitely to have you here and at such short notice. I have to ask you the first question because we've all just come out of the lockdown in South Africa. We ended the 5-week lockdown yesterday, and now we're in the level 4 phase of the restrictions imposed by the government. What did you do in those 5 weeks? You're a person who trains hard, who's always busy. How did you spend the last 5 weeks?
Well, obviously, as you know, I came out of a injury
Yes.
prior the COVID-19 pandemic, and it somewhat led to me entering somewhat of a hibernation stage or period of my life where a lot happened internally, indoors, away from the TV screens, the medias, and so on. And a lot of the hard work had to do with me coming back and getting out of this injury or the state of being injured and so on. And as the year started, then shifted my mentality and my mind towards an athlete again, competing again, getting ready for the next major competition. And obviously, with that being the introduction to my year, COVID-19 started, and that led to me just having to take a step back and shift back to that hibernation stage of preparation and training and strengthening myself. So luckily, I'm very blessed and privileged to have equipment around me and a nice gym setup. So uh, that was well prepared before all of this even happened. And now I can, I guess, somewhat reap that blessings that I have now and work with what I have.
Mm.
But obviously, you do miss the track, and you do miss wanting to get back to competing again. But the unfortunate reality is that this is something that we all have to face.
Yeah. So you're at home in Bloemfontein in the Free State province
Yes,
of South Africa. I can see a Mo Salah t-shirt behind you. Are you a football fan as well?
I'm a big Liverpool fan.
Okay, great. Okay. So 5 weeks in lockdown and you've done all your training at home and you said it's been particularly a period of hibernation for you after the knee injury. So you've mentioned that and you've been away from the limelight for 2 years now since the injury in
Yes, yes,
2017.
yes.
So I'm sure you're pretty much used to that feeling of, keeping your sanity, and especially in light of COVID-19, when all of us are anxious, we are
Yeah,
stressed,
yeah,
and it has to do with our health. What are the
yeah,
lessons that you can give people in lockdown? Because you've experienced a similar personal lockdown in the last 2 years.
yeah. Well, I think my personal journey and what I've experienced and what I've picked up over this last few years of being injured, and then obviously it going through now into the year of this COVID-19 pandemic is to try and find that peace within this chaos, try and find that positive and that calm within the storm. You know what I mean? And it's just a mentality shift that I had to create, and I had to adapt, and I had to meditate on
Oh,
to make sure that I work on and I build somewhat of a positive foundation, so that when my mentality before the pandemic was to when I get out of being injured, I reap every positive that I've invested in me, and every strength and every word of growth and positivity around me that I invested in me, that once I come out of the injury, that's what I will be reaping, and that's what
Mm.
I'll be showcasing, all that positive, let's say, foundation that I tried to build myself, um, and use that as my mental strength to come out stronger, because physically I knew I was doing the work, and physically I was trying to tick all the boxes that my trainers and my coaches gave me.
Yeah.
And now it was really just about making sure that my physical and my mental state can complement one another, and not the one is stronger than the other, and then you end up leading to yourself being injured again, or overdoing it, or end up being fatigued or whatever else. And I just tried to create a environment and an atmosphere that was positive for me as an individual. And I think the same that's the same mentality I just continued with when the pandemic started, and when we were somewhat asked and forced to stay indoors.
Yeah.
It just was basically me just continuing what I've been doing the last 2 years.
Yeah, you already got the practice and the warming up.
Yeah.
So it's about creating the positive environment around you and building, working on not just your physical endurance, but also your mental endurance. I'm sure you were looking forward to the 2020 Olympics and in defending your 400-meter title from 2016. Obviously, the
Yeah.
Olympics have moved and probably postponed to next year.
Yeah.
Has this given you the gift of time in a sense?
Um, I wouldn't say necessarily gift of time. I mean, every time we have is a blessing. It is a gift. I prepared myself as best as I can for this year, but obviously reality is what it is, and we can't be dwelling off of the losses or the challenges that came with the fact that we now have to somewhat delay our entire process.
Mm.
I had a chat with my wife the other day as well, and I told her that, you know what, we can either see it as time lost, or we can see it as uh, there's a job that I've been working on, and there's a goal that I set for myself, and where I'm going to get it, when I'm going to get it, uh, is not important, as long as I get to it, and as long as I put in the hard work to make sure that I can eventually tick that box. So if that means that Olympics wouldn't be the place, it has to happen somewhere,
Somewhere else.
because I've been working on it. It's what I've been investing in myself. So it doesn't matter the platform it happens on, as long as it happens, because that's what I've been investing all my time and energy
Into. That's great.
in. Yeah.
So very well said. So what does this mean for the sporting industry? I mean, it's a great uncertain in front of us. I mean, all
Yeah.
industries
Yeah.
have been affected, but for the sports
Mhm.
industry in particular, because it means large gatherings and stadiums. So what do you think if this continues? I mean, there's no vaccine available until next year.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
does it really mean for individual sports players like you who need
Yeah.
to be out there on the
Yeah.
field?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sports is who we are. It's our lifestyle. This is our job. The same way you have your job, and um, I mean, it's difficult thinking of missing out on doing your job and doing what you've been blessed with doing. And it's a scary thought, but I mean, do you dwell and entertain the fact that time is being taken away from you, like I said, or are we going to
Yeah.
continue working for that opportunity when it comes and when you get there? So that, I mean, like I mentioned earlier as well, this is not a pandemic that's just happening to you and
Mm.
me. It's happening to the entire world. So we all somewhat losing out on this precious time that we have. But at the same time, we're going through such a, if I could call it, a period of trying to cleanse yourself, trying
Yes.
to strengthen yourself, trying to improve yourself, and trying to uh, be good to your heart. And if I say to your heart, is it's obviously you fueling uh, whatever gets you going and keeps you ticking. So for me personally, would try and be obviously first priority would be continue training, continue keeping strong, but at the same time making sure that you show that appreciation, love to the friends and family that's
Mm.
been supporting you, and just showing them a helping hand during this difficult time. And then you also get your community and people who has a need. We get so caught into what needs to be done so that I can reach my next success. But now we're in a period of time where we need to take a step back and forget about who you are and what you need to achieve, and see where you can help and whose lives you can make easier. Even if it means helping another family with a meal, or
Yeah.
helping another family with a blessing so that they can get through this pandemic, because we fortunate and we blessed with
Yes.
so much. And we end up getting so caught into where I need to go as Wayde, and forgetting that that means nothing. Like you said, if the stadiums aren't full with those people that are struggling now. I mean, the people that are struggling now is the people that would give you the biggest smile when you're entering a shopping mall, and the biggest cheer and support of that feel good confidence. I mean, this is the people that give you confidence, because sometimes you don't get that confidence from yourself and from your
Right.
own words. You get it
Right.
from the people that you meet. And now it's time for I guess for us as sports people and as human beings to find ways to consider those around us that are less fortunate and aren't as blessed as what we are.
Yes, yeah.
So it's kind of selfish for me to try and focus my mind on just me, when there's so much more than just me going around at this moment.
So it's a mixture of introspection for you and also
Yeah.
compassion, and also compassion. So what have you had been doing any directed, targeted
Mhm.
efforts at, helping your
Yeah.
community, or is there something that you've,
Yeah.
any relief funds that you've been a part of?
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I haven't had the opportunity to do anything major yet, but I'm very passionate about trying to help those uh, around me, and,
Hmm.
and and trying to make sure that I can find ways to bless those around me. I'm not someone I'm not a fan of trying to do things that would become a um,
Event.
media event, yeah, per
Yes.
se. I try to bless the ones that I can directly around me, and make sure that everyone around me is sorted and safe. And I mean, that's not just my friends and family, that's not just people that can benefit me or make a difference in my life, but uh, if I see a need, I try and invest in that need, and trying to help the people around me. And that's something that I've been quite passionate about way before this entire
Mm.
pandemic. So whenever there's a need close to my heart, I try and help, and I try and reach out and make sure that uh, I do somewhat contribute. And then obviously, uh, a I'm quite a firm believer in the Lord and so on, and we try and contribute where I can in
Mm.
the church setup. And
Mm.
obviously, during the church, there's a lot of outreaches and projects that the church has going on. So I try and bless uh or do my part in terms of that as well, but not to extent where I want to be praised, but just to extent where I know that I'm helping another and I'm blessing another,
Yeah.
because that's what fulfills my heart and makes me feel somewhat complete.
That's fantastic. Any idea what is in the pipeline for you this year? Are there any events or sporting events that you've signed up for that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
do see will happen? Any sports
yeah,
endorsement, anything at all?
yeah. I think it's very difficult to answer the question, because dates are being shuffled around basically daily at this very moment. So I have been prepping and working towards entering Diamond League competition and the competitions, and the Athletic World Challenge competitions and so on. But everything has been shuffled all over the place at this moment. So we're not 100% certain when what's going to happen. And also, doing indoor training is kind of very difficult to just jump out
Yes.
of it and then into a competitive stage. And I think we just need to now, once we get obviously the go ahead, and when things starts getting safer, and when things starts or when we as athletes and people and humans start feeling safer and at ease, that then I'll then be able to then do more of a outdoors training, which obviously would then be more track based and so on. Because at the moment we're doing more indoor gym based training.
Training.
So there's a lot of technical things to it in terms of getting 100% race fit for 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 a international stage. So I think the way things look now, it would probably just be uh, trying to do some competitions to just shake off that
Right.
rust, and just to
Yes.
get the legs going again, and getting the body moving and the blood flowing again. Because obviously there's a massive difference between a gym workout and becoming a proper track and field professional
Professional.
athlete, and
Yeah.
competing against the world's best. So there's a massive difference between the two, and it's going to be a massive transition. It's not just
Right.
okay, the lockdown is done today, so tomorrow let's start competing. There's going to be a whole few month process of us trying to get back again and get fit again, and be at the level and in the shape where we can improve our times and improve ourselves as athletes. So I
Mm.
think it's going to take a bit before we can just say, okay, we're back and
Right.
we're about to break records again and so on.
And I think the most important thing is to stay healthy itself. What are
Yeah,
your
exactly.
what are your counterparts in other parts of the world saying, the people in your network? I know Usain
Yeah,
Bolt. Usain Bolt is a very good friend of yours, I've heard.
yeah.
So have you been connecting with all of them?
Yeah, we try now and then communicating. I've got a few friends in the UK where uh, or we see and we hear that it's quite intense and it's quite hectic, and they are still uh, locked down and have like a very limited time of exercising and so on. And then I've got some friends in Doha as well, where their lockdown was also quite severe and early. And then I have some American athletes that I do follow, and I see, and you see so much athletes still working outdoors and training
Mm.
outdoors. And so it's on both sides, it's quite different. So you don't know if this is happening today,
Yes.
or is it a later post or whatever else. So it's a mixture all over the world. I mean, everyone's lockdowns are different. Some people are allowed
Yeah.
to go outside and do a bit of work and some
Yeah.
training and so on, where we were locked down strictly in our houses, in our house setup for about a month or just over a
Mm.
month. and
Mm.
and and yeah, I think it differs from country to country, but I mean, I guess we just had to accept our reality,
Yeah.
and make peace with it.
Have you been in touch with Usain Bolt, Caster Semenya, all of them?
Yeah. I do communicate with him more, and then I think Usain is more a bit of banter. So he's always teasing me about the Premier League not not going to finish. So trying to tap into that nerve of mine, because I'm a passionate Liverpool supporter.
I
So
see.
I'm trying to not entertain that side of them. I haven't spoken to Kes in a long time. Obviously would love to, but um, she's been going through quite a bit, and trying to respect her space
Yeah.
at the same time, trying to be supportive from a distance and so on.
Yes.
But obviously still just wish her the world's strength and
Mm.
blessings and well-being and health, obviously, for her and her family. And yeah, so I think that's where things are at with them at the
At the
moment.
moment. So I have my one of the last. I have two more questions actually. So the second last one is: you've always said that you want to be the fastest man in the world. So you still have some of the other, some uncharted territory to accomplish. So what is that status still the same? I mean,
100%, definitely. I
yeah,
mean, it was my dream from a young kid. It's what I've been investing in for the last, what, 15 to 15 years. This is the last, I mean, since I was a young kid. It's what I've been working on, and where I wanted to be and what I wanted to achieve. And obviously, the barriers that I broke as a professional athlete, with that came confidence of why not wanting to be the best in the world. I mean, if someone had to ask me a few years ago, Wade, do you believe you'd break the world record, it would probably be a no. So why not today believe in that no? Why not believe in I can achieve what I would say no to today? So I'm invested 110% to want to improve my 100 meters, 200 meters, 300,
yes.
up to the 400 meters, whatever opportunity I get to improve myself as a sportsman and as an athlete, I want to take it and I want to use it, and I don't want to take it for granted. So
Right.
I'm more hungry and determined than ever before to improve myself in every single area that I can.
Wow. And you told us, told Forbes Africa in an interview in 2016 after your Olympic win, that the race is a blank experience. You only remember the end. You give your everything. You give your everything and you leave it on the track.
Yeah, yeah,
So is that
yeah.
what you say even now?
Exactly. I mean, like I mentioned earlier as well, this is a blessing. This is a God-given gift, and who am I to take this for granted? It came freely, so all I need to do is look after it, maintain it, and not take it for granted. So I'm just trying my best to invest uh, all positivities and all strengths and whatever needs to be improved in myself. Just invest in that, and then use my gifts to my advantage, because I've done it before. I've shown myself over and over again that I belong so this is just about me tapping into that and getting back to where I believe I belong.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Wade. That was a wonderful chat, and I hope you take care of yourself and you continue to
Thank you.
win Olympic gold even the next time, and you continue to make South Africa proud. That was Wayde van Niekerk, the man who was the Olympic gold medalist and who still dreams to be the fastest man in the world. Thank you so much for watching. This is Renuka
Thank
Mehta
you so
signing off in Johannesburg. Thank you, Wade. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Blessings.
you. Blessings to you too.